Where are the rest?
Oh, let's be realistic.
Welcome to WatchMojo UK, and today we're looking at the absolute worst bakers on Celebrity Bake Off. These are celebrities that just cannot knead a dough to save their life.
Have you tried eating it yourself?
No, I'm good.
We'll be considering celebrity appearances on the Great Comic Relief, Sport Relief, and Stand Up to Cancer Celebrity Bake Off series. Before we begin, we publish new content every day, so be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. Number 20. Judi Love. The wonderfully bubbly comedian Judi Love certainly brought her signature energy to the Bake Off tent, but sadly her baking prowess didn't quite match her effervescent personality.
They like my idea, so I'm happy with that. I just need a question on this because I don't know if it tastes orangey enough, to be honest with you.
On the My Celebrity Crush Showstopper Challenge, Judi opted to immortalise none other than the Neighbours singing heartthrob Jason Donovan. As you can see, unfortunately the resulting cake looked so off the mark that even Prue Leith's most generous smile couldn't disguise the fact that this particular Jason Donovan had, shall we say, seen better days.
Judy, will you tell us all about your childhood celebrity crush? Don't say Humpty Dumpty.
Luckily it tasted alright, so we'll be basing this one off looks alone, even though judges did say that Jason was slightly overbaked.
Oh my God, it was awful. But you know what, I'm happy with it. If I'm honest with you, I'm so glad they didn't look at the back.
Number 19. Alex Horne.
Alex's structure will be constructed with an unlikely ingredient. A bangers and mash version of choux pastry.
Taskmaster's very own little Alex Horne strolled into the tent with his usual air of slightly bewildered genius, and for his showstopper he decided to recreate a vibrant skate park. Now if you thought this man would bring any kind of reasoning to the ingredients, you'd be wrong, but the result does look quite funny.
I'm really not looking forward to cold,
No,
savoury, if I'm brutally honest.
it's more fun for me than you, definitely.
While certainly geometric, Alex's skate park became an instant classic for all the wrong reasons. The entire structure was, in polite terms, somewhat wonky. But the funniest part goes to the judges' reactions. It had Paul and Prue completely shattered. Paul couldn't help but question the so-called savoury choux cake ahead of him, and it's easy to understand why it was laughed at. It's just not a good sign when a judge takes a bite and starts cry laughing.
Do you want me to take it away and put it immediately
I'd
in the
like
bin?
you to take
Yes,
it.
please.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
I don't think you should subject any of your classmates to this.
Thank you for your comments.
Number 18. Alan Carr.
What are you two gossiping over there about?
About how bad your mixture looks?
Now, Alan Carr, the nation's favourite chatty man, had quite the colourful showstopper. He made a magnificent rainbow-themed cake, and if you just saw the final result, you would be forgiven for thinking it looked alright. While Prue Leith described it as wonderfully imaginative in concept, her follow-up assessment of the execution was delivered with a pretty long pause, leaving everyone in no doubt about its actual quality.
I think it is wonderfully imaginative. Execution is not exactly professional.
As if they hadn't already killed Alan, Paul joined in afterwards and tested its structural integrity, or rather the complete lack thereof, by picking up a slice of the sponge cake and breaking it apart with a loud snapping sound.
You really shouldn't be able to snap a sponge.
You're just being picky now.
Of course, Alan himself described his creation as a war crime, so if you had been paying any attention during the process, it's not like you'd have high expectations anyway. Number 17. Tim Minchin. As brilliant a comedian as Tim Minchin is, he proves that intellect doesn't necessarily translate into baking acumen.
Put this berry in here, which is heavier than the meringue, which is sitting all right, and I'll see how it goes over
Just
time.
looks weird, that. It looks like
Yeah.
a not very well endowed wizard.
His meringue tower showstopper was less of a towering achievement and more of a leaning monument to despair, although he did try to save the situation with some of his wit.
A symbol of the uneven distribution of wealth in society, with the 99% clumped around the bottom and the very few wealthy at the top there, with a big gap in between.
While judges might have been looking for a well-structured, perfectly piped meringue tower, they instead got an accidental and edible socio-economic critique. It did taste great, but how do you even manage to botch the look so bad? It was a truly British moment, a baking disaster so profound it could only be explained away with highbrow philosophical reasoning. Whilst it was definitely funny, he fails a bit in baking.
It's great. It's just a shame, you know.
I'll carry that regret for the rest of my life.
David Schwimmer.
And my expectations are so low that, that I think I'll do really well for myself.
Friends sweetheart David Schwimmer, who you might best know as Ross Geller, brought his typically earnest character to the bake-off tent. While his first bake went well, for his showstopper, he went for something a bit more daring, in the form of a meringue rabbit. It started out looking perfectly fine too. Unfortunately, it had been the victim of a few accidents and quickly turned out more like Bugs Bunny if he had made some questionable decisions in life. The slightly surreal, rather unsettling creature looked like it had been in a minor altercation with a lawnmower.
I'm just making a surreal sculpture, parts of rabbit all over the stage.
While David and his bake isn't the worst this show has ever seen, it's still a perfect example of good intentions paving the way to the funniest, most comical disasters.
I think you're very artistic. I think you're very driven and obviously very natural baker that practices a lot.
It's lovely. It really is good.
I'm really happy and exhausted, so I'm gonna go to bed.
Number 15. Stacey Solomon. Surely you can't be the most competent baker or even cook if you don't even know how to properly use an oven. Such is the case, at least for beloved singer and presenter Stacey Solomon.
Oh my God! Someone get him away from me before I have a mental
Good luck,
breakdown.
Stacey.
Faced with the pressure of baking scones, Stacey, in a moment of pure brain freeze, had put her oven on the wrong setting entirely and realised it too late as well.
How do I turn the oven off?
With just 20 minutes to go, Stacey's discovered her oven was on the wrong setting.
Like a true professional, rather than calmly attempting to salvage the situation, or perhaps just accepting her fate, Stacey, with the clock ticking relentlessly, decided it was for the best to scrap everything and start over right at the end of the challenge. Obviously, you don't need a pro to tell you that Stacey was out of her depth when it comes to operating an oven. She nailed her second attempt, but not without the help of Sandy.
Get away from my oven. That's not my fault. This is the oven's fault.
Number 14. Joe Sugg.
Joe and I have come up with a fantastic idea for a YouTube channel.
Are you trying to get down with the kids again?
Yeah, so Joe is in a tent baking.
Don't you think that's a little bit like our show?
Oh.
Typically, Joe Sugg is pretty level-headed, but what happened during this challenge can only be described as cartoonish. Fair warning, this is the type of thing that sends shivers down your spine. Joe somehow managed to cut his finger open while attempting to cut an apple, and in total slapstick fashion, he calmly exclaims, "I've just sliced my finger open really bad. Help."
Oh. I've just sliced my finger open really bad. Help.
It might be a bit morbid, but it's something that we just can't help but laugh at. It's just dramatic enough and so perfectly British.
Is he okay?
He's not well.
Is he not?
He's cut his finger and he looks like ashen. The colour of him, bless him. Okay.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, he was actually named Star Baker for his overall performance, but failing to even cut an apple safely landed him this spot in our video. Number 13. Lucy Beaumont. If you were to picture your perfect day off and turn it into a cake, would it look like this? While she nailed her quiche, with this one it quickly became clear that Lucy had a rocky relationship with baking, to put it mildly. Throughout the challenge, she struggled to make something even resembling a single cohesive or appetising bake. What was meant to be her entry for the technical challenge had Paul immediately thinking it had been dropped.
I think this has been dropped.
Yeah, this is a fair old disaster, if I may say so.
Have you ever had broken biscuits from market?
And it only got worse for her perfect day off, which turned out to be a complete mess. Just a random rock-hard mound of cookies and flour.
Can I just do this a second? That's your cake? That's your sponge?
Number 12. David Mitchell.
Obviously, it does look... It does look...
Disgusting?
Yeah.
We all know David Mitchell can pull off some of the funniest, most well-spoken rants on earth, but he really can't pull off a pavlova, or at least he couldn't in this technical challenge. What was supposed to be a delicate dance of crisp meringue and soft, airy interior became somewhat of a catastrophic failure, shall we say.
Sensed waves of disapproval about my choice of the metallic as something for a food to look like. The gunmetal grey of interstellar travel. What could be more delicious?
What he produced instead was a thick, dense and utterly un-pavlova-like disc of baked egg white, resembling something closer to a fossilised frisbee rather than a delicate dessert. The beauty of David's failure was totally resigned, yet hilariously articulate. Acceptance of his lack of baking skill, which is very much in line with the David we all know and love. We really can't compliment his baking skills, but he did leave us in stitches.
I was very pleased, so much so that I'm taking some of my pies home. Well done, everyone. Particularly me.
Number 11. Victoria Corrin Mitchell.
I read somewhere that if you chop onions underwater, then your eyes don't stream, but how can you chop things underwater? You can't.
Savoury muffins can be quite a divisive topic in themselves, even just upon hearing of it. Why do muffins need to be savoury? Well, what if we like them? Only Connect host Victoria Corrin Mitchell set out to ask these questions right here on Bake Off. If you aren't put off by the words Bloody Mary muffins, then these are just for you.
I'm basically just putting in the things you put in a Bloody Mary. How much Tabasco is that?
What most people would consider to be questionable is nothing but another dessert for VCM. Unfortunately, they didn't turn out as well as intended, and instead of a savoury delight, judges were in for a bit of torture. For what it's worth, it was pretty creative, but maybe creativity isn't what Victoria needs. And that showstopper didn't hit either. Fun ideas, not so fun tasting.
I think they're such fun. They're a beautiful colour, but for my taste, I'm not really enjoying them.
Number 10. Lee Mack.
I used to share a flat with Noel, and he couldn't cook. He was useless. And here he is, the face of British cooking. How did that happen?
This fine fellow, who you may know as Lee Mack, opted to do what he does best in this bake-off challenge, quick-witted comedy. Deciding that his baking talents weren't quite cutting it, he sort of gave up and went for juggling eggs instead.
Does this worry you? Be honest. It's worrying me. OK, that went wrong.
It would have been great if he could have juggled them into a stand mixer instead, but he just dropped the eggs. It might have been part of the bait, but it didn't save his turnovers from being a total disaster. Suffice it to say that sometimes it's probably for the best to simply lean into the chaos. At least he produced a few laughs.
Do you know what, Lee?
What?
Oh, really?
The thing is, how long did it go in the oven for?
Did they go in the oven?
Number 9. Martin Kemp.
Anyone who takes a bite out of anything that I've ever made, I wait to see their face and their reaction. So cooking for Paul and Prue, there's a lot of pressure in that.
Martin Kemp of Spandau Ballet stepped out into the hollowed tent with the cool composure of a pop legend. But in a moment that has since become a classic Celebrity Bake-Off blunder, Martin somehow managed to confuse buttercream for his cake mix. In other words, he baked frosting.
What's happened?
I'm cooking the buttercream.
What?
It's not.
Oh dear.
What the heck is that?
That is a disaster.
That's the sort of basic fundamental mix-up that makes you question anybody's credibility in the kitchen. This mistake would end up setting the stage for his remaining bakes, which turned out slightly rushed. Even national treasures can get bewildered by the simple act of baking, it would seem.
I was expecting a stage.
Well, you're expecting a lot, Paul.
Number 8. Munya Chihuahua.
It's going to be lined with this beautiful ginger crown.
So have you practiced this, Munya?
I like to go by instinct.
If there's one thing we could say to these Ed Sheeran cake pops, it's that we're in love with the shape of them. Only the king of satirical impressions, Munya Chihuahua, could come up with something as brilliant as these. Proposing to craft edible cake pops depicting the varying emotions of Ed Sheeran, the cake pops emerged rather unstructured. Prue, ever the purveyor of precise critiques, was quick to comment on their good looks.
They do look like Ed Sheeran.
Don't they?
But after all, they were still soggy and raw, as Paul described. Munya's self-deprecating response only sadly further cemented his place as a wonderfully terrible baker.
It is raw.
Well, look, I can do better next round. Let's shake on it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Number 7. KSI.
I believe in myself. I can win this. I can get that apron.
KSI may be a colossal YouTube personality and rapper, but he's not exactly known for his delicate touch in the kitchen.
Oh, it's hot.
It will be. It's been in an oven.
His appearance here on Bake Off only cemented that even further. While attempting a lattice cherry pie for the technical challenge, a bake that requires plenty of precision and a light hand, the resulting product was, in a manner of speaking, to die for. It doesn't help that he broke down into laughter over his own mistake of flipping it upside down onto a dish.
Are you going to serve it like that?
The judges did their best to avoid tasting it, which is no wonder considering how his fondant fancies right before this went. It didn't take much for his competition to do substantially better.
I don't even want to taste it.
Are you not going to try a slice of it?
No, would you like to try some?
No, I'm fine.
Number 6. Young Philly. Get ready to dive into a truly spectacular episode of baking amnesia.
I have a feeling mine's going to come out really nice.
Up against the challenge of making chocolate fondant puddings, a bake that demands absolute precision and, well, at the bare minimum, correct ingredients, popular content creator Young Philly had completely forgotten to add flour. Yes, the very foundation of most baked goods.
Oh, I forgot the flour. Oh, I've lost. I forgot the flour.
Oh, you forgot the flour too?
I forgot it, Gareth.
And as you would expect, the resulting chocolate masses had literally zero structural integrity. Fondants are notoriously temperamental even at the best of times, and they demand a perfect balance of flour to rise correctly. As you can imagine, the result was quite deflated and sad, and the reactions were quite priceless too. But you could also at least hope that it was a learning experience for young Philly.
Don't eat it all at once.
Number 5. Nick Hewer.
I'm making choux pastry with letters and numbers.
Ah, for Canton.
Exactly.
Oh, that'd be great.
You may have been caught in this bloke's piercing gaze on The Apprentice before, but he sported one of the funniest expressions ever right here in the bake-off tent. Every whisk of a bowl, every glance at the oven, every Paul Hollywood critique was met with the look that conveyed a man struck by a primordial fear of God, wrestling with the existential dread of underbaked pastry.
I'm just wondering whether I should have had that heart checkup before or after coming here. I'm an old man.
You've got to commend him for being a survivor, but as for carrying himself, he seemed to be completely stunned by the pressure.
Oh my God. They won't renew the contract, you know. It's awful. I can't bear to look.
Number 4. Big Narstie. The old-school grime artist Big Narstie brought his strongest baking game to the tent, and while his personality was a delight, his baking skills were distinctive.
I've got heavy hands. Look at that. Look at these monsters.
Like a beautiful woman.
Very gently on that.
But that's not passionate if it's soft like that.
Oh, sometimes.
You see, sometimes gold, man. Respect that.
For the signature challenge, where bakers are supposed to showcase their personal baking styles, Big Narstie delivered what were affectionately and hilariously dubbed doggy biscuits. They were meant to be an edible self-portrait, but he failed in the funniest way possible. You know how you've got to roll out the dough and then use the cookie cutters? Well, Big Narstie decided to do it in hand instead.
This one looks like a dog.
Some dogs over here.
Yeah, there are some real dogs over here.
A questionable decision that would confuse even the youngest amateur bakers. Looks like the pie afterwards had Paul shook as well.
Tell you what, the pie, that has got a lot of very nice chili in it.
Burning fire!
Number 3. James Acaster. James Acaster put up one of the funniest fights on the show, if you could call it that, and came up with some of the most legendary answers to the judges while attempting to fend off the criticism. In the signature challenge, Paul humorously called James's flapjacks a little wet looking. Of course, James was ever so quick to retort.
Oh yeah, that's because it's not baked yet.
Unfortunately, and hilariously enough, the mixture remained wet for the entire process. The disaster would only continue further as he got through the technical challenge, with Prue exclaiming,
All I can say is it does have the ingredients we gave you. There.
What more could you ask?
And even with his showstopper, containing what James described as sweet egg flavour, it seemed like judges were doing their best not to rip into him. It seems baking just isn't for you, James.
I thought, even if baking goes badly, it's a bit of fun. It's not. No, not disappointed. Scarred.
Number 2, Roisin Conaty.
Trying to relax, but I'm really not able to relax.
Now for a woman who set a completely new bar for the rest of the celebrity bakers, Roisin Conaty. Of course, if you've seen the episode, you know she didn't exactly raise it. There were numerous mistakes, like, for instance, completely forgetting the ingredients in her own cupcakes mid-bake. Beyond the culinary amnesia, she consistently produced bakes that were, to put it politely, rustic. Her gingerbread resembled something that had been unearthed from an archaeological dig rather than lovingly baked. Although she did try, as Paul went on to say, that was the worst gingerbread he had ever had.
Well, the flavour would be good if it was cooked.
Is it completely raw?
Pretty raw.
Number 1, Jamie Laing.
This is nothing like my mum made it. Nothing. My mum was like a lot higher than this. I don't understand why it's not as high.
And for the most terrible celebrity baker, the man whose culinary ineptitude left judges' taste buds scarred for life, Jamie Laing. Despite his great-great-grandfather inventing the digestive biscuit, it seems baking talent isn't inherited, but rather learned.
Why wouldn't mine be the best? Why couldn't they be the best?
He's baked the most infamous banana loaf in existence by somehow deciding to throw all his ingredients into a food processor simultaneously. It turned out as a dense, rubbery, greyish mass that looked straight out of a horror movie. And to solidify Jamie's position as a disaster artist of sorts, Paul declared it the worst cake anyone had ever baked him on the show.
That has got to be the worst cake that's ever been baked in the tent. Ever.
Didn't help that Prue spat it out either. He may be charming, but he's no baker. Who do you think is the worst celebrity baker to appear on the show? Let us know in those comments below.
Maybe I could quickly make another one, I think so.
It's not good.
Can you get salmonella from this?
No, darling, it's just disgusting, that's all.
Okay.